In the heart of Ile-Ife lives a woman named Moremi Ajasoro, a noble woman, a wife, a mother. But what history often forgets is this: Moremi was just a woman who watched children scream in the night, a woman who saw her people's pride crumble, a woman who made a choice. How far would you go to save your people? Would you betray your lover? Would you deceive a kingdom? But what if the gods now came and asked for your child in return? This is not a tale of war. It's a tale of sacrifice, of love, of pain, of a woman who gave everything she had and lost what she could never replace. In the beginning, there was Ile-Ife, the sacred city, the place where gods walked among men. Its people lived in peace until the darkness came. Strange men from beyond the forest, marked in fire and smoke. They came not for trade or peace, but to destroy. The others believed they were spirits, the Ugbo raiders, some said, but no one truly knew. The warriors of Ife tried to fight, but how do you fight ghosts? In the heart of this chaos lived Moremi Ajasoro, a noble woman. It was a quiet evening in Ile-Ife. The sun had begun to set, casting long golden shadows across the red earth. The village was still, wrapped in the kind of silence that comes only when hope has almost run out. Moremi stood at the edge of her compound, watching smoke rise in the distance. Another raid, another village burning. And so, with her heart heavy and her spirits desperate, she made a decision. That evening, as dusk gave way to night, Moremi walked alone to the river banks of Esimiri. The path was narrow, the trees whispered, the wind carried with it a strange stillness. When she reached the water, she knelt, not as a queen, not as a wife, not even as a mother, but as a woman, begging the unseen for a miracle. "If you give me the key to save my people," she whispered into the dark, "I will give you anything you ask." Her voice trembled, her eyes stung, but her vow was firm. And somewhere beneath the surface of the water, something listened. A few nights later, Moremi returned to the gates of Ile-Ife, not to stay, but to be taken. She disguised herself and wandered near forests where the raiders often struck. And just as she had hoped, they came. They did not kill her. They saw a woman of striking beauty and mystery, and instead of a prisoner, they took her as a prize. Their leader, fierce and adorned in fire-wrapped robes, brought her into his inner circle, into his home. Moremi played her part so well. She bowed her head, she spoke softly, she touched his hand like a lover, but her heart never beat for him. In the night, while he rested beside her, she listened. She watched the way they dressed, how they wrapped themselves in raffia leaves and set them alight before battle. She studied their rituals, she counted their weapons, she memorized the way they moved. Days turned into weeks, and when the moment was right, Moremi slipped away. Beneath the cover of night, she escaped, carrying with her the truth that would break the raider's spell. She returned to Ile-Ife as a ghost in the wind, not the same woman that had left. The guards at the gate did not recognize her at first, but when they saw the fire in her eyes, they bowed. Word spread like wildfire. "Moremi has returned, oh! Moremi today, oh! Moremi has returned." The elders gathered, the warriors listened, the people stood silent, and then she spoke. "My people, they are not spirits," she said, her voice low but unwavering. "They are men. They are human like us, men that can bleed." The silence that followed was heavy. Some wept, others clenched their fists in anger. For the first time in months, there was hope. Armed with her knowledge, the warriors of Ife walked through the night. They laid traps where fear had once kept them away. The blacksmith sharpened blade all through the night. Even the children carried water, they carried stone, anything they could find. The whole city moved as one. And when the raiders came again, roaring, burning, certain of their invisibility, the Yoruba lit their fires before the enemies could. But the flames were not of fear. These flames were flames of hope. The raffia costumes ignited instantly. The same disguises that once terrified now expose them for what they truly were. Their screams pierced the air, but now those screams were human, weak. The screams were no longer divine, they were mortal. The warriors of Ife charged, no longer afraid, no longer fooled. Sword clashed, ash filled the sky, and for the first time in a long time, the land beneath Ile-Ife drank the blood of its enemy, not its own. That day, the myth chattered, and Ile-Ife was free. The drums still echoed in the distance. Women danced, men sang, children clapped. Moremi stood at the edge of the celebration, motionless. The air smelled of roasted yam and palm wine, but to her, everything was quiet. Everything was distant. Her name had been carved into wind as a hero, but she felt no victory in her chest because the spirit had not forgotten, and neither had she. That night, she returned to the river alone. But this time, she was not leaning to ask. She came to surrender. The water was still. The moonlight danced upon its surface like spirits watching from above. And then she heard it. The whisper, soft as wind through leaves. Give us what you love the most. Moremi fell to her knees. Her fingers dug into the wet earth. Please, she whispered, her voice breaking. Not him. Anything but him, please. But the river was silent. The price had already been set long ago. Her son, barely more than a boy, came running to her. Mama, he called, barefoot and smiling, unaware of the situation. She turned slowly. Her eyes shimmered not from joy, but from sorrow. Sorrow too deep for words. She opened her arms and held him tight, tighter than ever before. She inhaled his scent. She ran her hands through his hair, memorizing every coil. Why are you crying, Mama? She smiled through her tears. Because I love you, my son. Then don't cry now, he whispered, resting his small head on her shoulder. And for a moment, she wished she had never asked God for help. For a moment, she wished she had let her people fall. Because now, she had to lose the only thing she could not bear to lose. Slowly, trembling, she took him by the hand. Together, they walked into the river's mist. The spirits were waiting. She kissed his forehead. Close your eyes, my son, she said softly. Are we going on a journey? He asked. Yes, but only one of us. He didn't understand. She let him go. Her arms, once full, were now empty. Her cries echoed across the water like a haunting lullaby. That night, Ile-Ife slept in peace. But Moremi did not sleep again for many nights. The land had been saved, but her soul would carry the scar forever. In the years that followed, the people of Ile-Ife built statues in her honor. Children learned her name. The Eid festival was born. They danced in her name during the festival, praising her bravery and her sacrifice. But Moremi herself never danced. She never joined in the songs. She watched the joy from a distance, the same way she once watched the smoke rise from her burning village. Because while the world called her a hero, she remained at her core a mother who had just lost a child. Her legacy was not just carved in stones, it was written in grief, in silence, in strength. And so I ask you, if you were Moremi, what would you have done? Would you make a deal with the spirits for the lives of strangers? Would you give your child, your only child, to save a nation? These are not questions of war. They are questions of the heart. And they are why Moremi Ajasoro will never be forgotten. Speak her name in the comments, and if her story moved you, share it, because some stories are too powerful to remain silent. Thanks for watching. Subscribe now for more unforgettable tales, real life stories, and history. Bye for now.